This past week, it was bowling that shared the spotlight. Carling O'Keefe Sports, Canadian 5-pin Bowling Championship from Saskatoon. It's the 6th annual event. We're down now to the finalists. 250 bowlers were competing in Saskatoon. There's only 4 left in the singles competition. We have with us as our color commentator once again this year, Ed Lynch. Ed, you're from Winnipeg. You're the Canadian 5-pin Bowlers Association president, and the final today should be excellent.
Oh, we expect a great final from our 2 ladies and our 2 gentlemen. The rookie last year, Bev Meyer, is back again, and she's in the final once more against the new rookie this year, Lori Grider from Manitoba. Those 2 have been bowling excellently all week, so there should be no reason why they can't continue. On the men's side, we have Jim Brochu against Mr. Jim Bracey from Nova Scotia, and Jim has just worked his way up from the 5th spot to challenge for the championship, so those 2 gentlemen will put on a good show.
Well, we'll see if Jim Bracey can stay hot. He certainly has been the story.
Has he ever?
Lori Grider from Minnedosa, Manitoba.
Lori starts, unfortunately, with one of those splits. Very difficult to spare, but in this kind of a match, you're going to have to pick every pin out there. You never know how close they're going to be.
A few facts on Lori. She's 18 years of age, and last year competed in the YBC Bowling Championship, and she picked up the bronze medal there, Ed, in the singles. So it's a little different, I understand, going here to the Carling O'Keefe Sports Canadian 5-pin Bowling Championship as to the YBC.
Oh, it's got to be the biggest jump you can make, going from the YBC to top of the list in the singles. She averaged 279 for 15 games, led the qualifying. And here she is in the final against Bev Meyer, who last year was the rookie. And Bev lost out in the final, unfortunately, but she looks like she's still throwing that strong ball. To get here in her semifinal match, she threw a 340 game.
Right, and there's Bev Meyer, 22 years old. She's from Red Deer. We mentioned she lost out in last year's finalist. What a way to start for Bev Meyer. Well, that puts the pressure right on the rookie right away.
Right off the bat.
There's Grider picking all her wood up in the first frame, and of course Meyer coming back with 1 mark there.
This extra year experience for Bev, I think you're going to see, is going to make a big difference in this match, I feel, in that...
Well, last year in Thunder Bay, you may recall, she was up against Marnie Galloway, and it was a tough start for Bev Meyer. She had a couple of head pins right away, and what a difference a year makes. Here she starts with a strike, and now she's looking for that spare.
Oh, missed it. Well, picking her wood now would give her 43 in the second frame. Lori would have to get a mark up in that frame, be the striker or spare, to have a chance to be ahead. We're sitting very close to these bowlers, and I'm just hoping that we're not going to interfere with them in their concentration. This will be a good test of their concentration.
Sure will. Well, here she is, Lori Grider from Minnedosa, Manitoba. Let's see if she can put a little heat here on
intense concentration on Lori's face. She's throwing a good ball, and she's come right back.
She needed that. She came through. That feels a little bit better, I know.
Takes a few elephants off your back if you can get that mark and get that momentum going. Lori's been pretty active in her youth, bowling in Pepsi-Cola championships, YBC.
Yes!
Right there with a double.
2 in a row.
She, in effect, is now ahead of Bev, regardless of what Bev does. We'll see what Bev can do coming back. She's been throwing a beautiful ball this week, so no reason to believe she'll be any different in the finals.
Bev throughout the week threw 300 games.
There she is, right back. I think we're going to have a heck of a match, Kevin.
Boy, this should be a good one, because Lori Grider through the week had 4 300 games. So there you see it. We could have a couple of 300 games here, I think, Ed.
Well, it could be very easy. They're on the road now. They throw nice. Bev comes back with a double. Lori now needs a mark to stay ahead of her. Another strike. It's hard to believe that Lori's only 18 years of age and Bev is 22. And they've got a ton of experience between them.
Yeah, 3 in a row. Boy, any any nervousness she showed is over because after that first frame, she's back.
He's throwing beautiful ball. Right now, she has a 17-pin edge in the second frame. Both sitting there with doubles.
A lot of black marks.
He's there again.
Yes, again! 4 in a row.
Now she forces Bev to get a strike just to stay her 17 pins down.
During the weekend, they bowled on these lanes once, on lanes 5, 6, and 7, and 8. And Bev here had 256 and a 267 game.
He's got another ball. There she is.
I can't. Boy, it's just
What a
like
match.
machine work.
17 pin difference after 3. 4 in a row for Lori and a triple for Bev. The only thing that ruined Bev is that corner pin in the second, which you unfortunately didn't pick up. She comes in with her 4 in a row.
Boy.
Now she just turns the pressure around. Every time they get a strike or two, they're turning it back.
Well, here's Lori. We talked about her before during the week. She led from start to finish.
Looks like she's unbelievable. What a match. Oh, that's magnificent bowling.
Boy.
You can watch all those strikes appearing on your screen. It's she gets a little bit of a break at her corner right.
We'll take a look at that now in slow motion. As you see, 3-pin just going over the corner, leaving just the 2-pin left.
Right. And she gets her spare. So
good picking.
Score-wise, if they were both to strike out from this point, Bev would win the match. It's but now Bev must come in with a strike for sure to contain herself in the game. She's throwing a good ball again, and she's got it.
Clockwork by Bev Meyer out of Red Deer. She lost last year's Canadian final in Thunder Bay, and she wants to redeem herself here in Saskatoon.
She is throwing a beautiful ball. If she gets this mark, she will have a slight edge on Lori with 3 frames to go.
Yes,
she does. That's 6 in a row.
Meyer from Red Deer. We'll be back with more Canadian 5-pin bowling championships from Saskatoon. We're back again in Saskatoon at the Carling O'Keefe Sports Canadian 5-pin bowling championship.
Lori missed the first time she's missed.
And Lori Grider.
She must come up with a spare. We're seeing as Bev sitting on her double right now. 223 in the 6th in the double.
Quite a story with Lori and her brother Bob Grider from Minnedosa. Bob was the Manitoba men's singles representative this year.
Oh, she covered the spare. She now must get a strike to retain any chance of winning with Bev sitting on 6 in a row.
That, by the way, is the first time.
She's got to be mounting out there, Kevin. 2 frames each to go. The scores are magnificent scores.
9th frame. Oh, that hurts.
Can't hit him much better than that. Now she needs a spare.
Concentration. She has to pick this one up.
She is there. She's got a spare.
Right on.
These girls are putting on a magnificent bowling show. They make it look a little too easy.
Bev Meyer, how many has she got?
She's on 6 in a row now.
6 in a row. 6 strikes.
She puts another one on this one, and she'll have a good edge going into the last frame.
Her league average is around 255, and what a performance she has put on here today.
Yeah, she's got 7 in a row. 268. You know that Bev is looking at a 403 game if she was to strike out.
Boy, I'll tell you, they have a color TV up for grabs for those that can bowl a 450 game.
450 game, right. You're not going to come much closer than these two girls have given you a shot at, I'll tell you.
Look at that second frame, Bev.
8 in a row.
Bev Meyer
2 more, and she has a 4-hole 3. She's throwing a powerful ball. They're both throwing good balls. When you look at the score sheet, there's only been one miss between them. They've been picking all their wood, all their pins, all their spares. You are now looking at our new ladies single champion.
Bev Meyer, and she will finish off the 10th frame. And Bev Meyer.
A full hit will give her a 403 game. Not bad for the national championship.
Beautiful.
She's right there.
Yes!
403.
For the new Canadian ladies champion, Bev Meyer from Red Deer, Alberta.
The only thing ruining her perfect game was the corner pin in the 2nd frame, and she missed it for a spare. Otherwise, she finished with 10 in a row.
And
Lori. Lori can shoot 346 and lose.
Oh, unreal. You see, Bev, the expression on Bev's face.
Oh, is she one happy girl?
You talk about the pressure, but both of these have come through. Come on, Lori, get it. Oh, our first head pin.
Now, Lori started with a split, had a head pin in the last frame. But can you believe in Bev Meyer redeeming herself from her first showing last year with this kind of a match?
Who would have ever known? Back in the 2nd frame. That open.
That's right. 326 for Lori.
What a beautiful game. Bev Meyer, Red Deer, Alberta, 403. And Lori Grider from Minnedosa, Manitoba, 326. What a performance put on by Bev Meyer of Red Deer, Alberta. 403 to capture her first Canadian 5-pin bowling championship. With us now is Bev Meyer. Bev, you look back, you rolled 10 strikes in a row. The 2nd frame, the corner pin stood up.
Guess I just had a little lapse of concentration there for a moment.
The 10 strikes in a row, once you got it going, it just seemed to go on and go on.
Felt really good, and I felt pretty loose.
Feel any pressure entering the final?
Definitely. Lori's a good bowler, and I could feel it.
The experience of the year before in Thunder Bay certainly helped, I think.
I think it made a big difference. I saw the tape after last year's game and could see things that you do wrong, and you think about it a little more.
What about the week-long activity? You had, what, 300 games and no 400, and then you came through in the final game.
I'm really pleased. I'm just happy, really happy.
Congratulations, Bev, true champion.
Thanks very much.
This should be another dandy. The Canadian 5-pin men's singles final. Red Brochu of Nelson, BC, and Jim Bracey from Porters Lake, Nova Scotia.
Red Brochu just had a fantastic week. He averaged 298 for 15 games. So I got to put him as the favorite right now. But Jim Bracey, who finished 5th in the qualifying, bowled 931 in the qualifying round to beat his three competitors. So I'm looking for an excellent match here.
Talking to Red before, his career high average is around 250. He said in tournament play, this is something else. 298. He's never done that.
In fact, according to Red, all his records, insofar as individual records, were all done here this week. The way he's been bowling. Well, he starts with a cutoff spare, so he hasn't lost any of his touch. Let's see if Jim's going to be able to continue his hot streak. Jim was unbelievable in the qualifying. He won his first match with 289, then bowled a 371 and a final 271 for 931 total to win his 3 matches.
He finished 5th on the week for qualifying, and then beat Don Betts, Bill Collins.
There he is. He's throwing that ball. You'll notice that these balls are not overpowering, but boy, are they getting action. Now, while we've got a second here, Kevin, I'd just like to say how proud we are from the Canadian 5-pin Bowlers Association to have Carling O'Keefe Sports as one of our sponsors. Over the course of the year, they throw $250,000 into 5-pin bowling and about $100,000 to this championship alone. Along with that, Sports Canada gives us $40,000 towards travel for these competitors. So all in all, we're very thankful for these sponsors' help. Without them, we may not be able to put on the championships we do right now.
Jim Bracey left the corner pin there.
Jim started with a strike, come back with a fairly good ball, a little light, leaving the right-hand corner pin. Oh. wasn't very close on that one. That's not the Jim we've seen earlier. He didn't leave anything.
Jim has been bowling for 15 years. He's 30 years old, from Porters Lake, Nova Scotia.
Well, if he picks up 13 for 41, Red now can go ahead with a strike or a spare.
Quite the story on Red. You know, he has to travel to Trail, BC to bowl. And he's done that for 6 years because their bowling alley in Nelson, BC burned down some time ago. And he has to travel about 180 miles a week just to bowl.
That's a real dedicated individual. He bowls twice a week. One way he goes 50 miles to bowl. The other way he bowls 40 miles. So he loves his bowling. There's no doubt about it.
And he leaves a corner, just as Jim Bracey of Nova Scotia did. We see here what Red does. We mentioned Ed, he had a phenomenal week qualifying.
Games, I think he had 2 400 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did.
416 and a 405.
And 3 300s.
3 300s. He gets a spare, so he gets a small edge on Jim right now. But a long way to go, the way these two have been stringing strikes. I don't know if we can top the ladies' final. That was unbelievable. I'm still can't believe what I've seen.
Bev Meyer went 10 strikes in a row to finish at 403. This is the men's singles final. Red Brochu from Nelson, BC. Oh, again.
He gets a 28 count. With the spare, he'll be 15 up on Jim. So this is where it really shines, especially if you haven't got your ball rolling properly to get the action, get the strikes. You can't afford to miss any corners or leave any wood on the alleys. Some of these games are so close, a couple of pins difference. And he's picked up his spare. So Red has started out with a cutoff and corner and picked all his spares. Jim had a strike, got a corner and missed that corner, unfortunately. He now has to come in with a strike or a spare to stay in the match.
Jim Bracey bowled 259 average, and he did the same throughout his whole career. He's a 259 average bowler. He did it this year in league play, and he did it here.
In the qualifying round, that's right. But all of a sudden, that average jumped to about 314 in the 3 games prior to this match. But,
Jim has a backup type of ball he uses.
Small backup. Oh, and he gets his spare. So there's only a 15-pin difference right now after 2 frames. Here we have British Columbia against Nova Scotia, almost from one side of Canada to the other.
There you see the score in your monitor, 56-41, both having spares in the 3rd frame.
Important now for the counts. The best you can get, of course, would be the strike. That looks a much better ball for you.
Yeah, Jim. That was better.
Jim 71 now in the 3rd with a strike up. And it's up to Red now to stay with him. And Red's been bowling a long time. I look at the 2 matches we had youth with the ladies, and certainly have the experience with the 2 men.
27 years for Red.
It just seemed that these 2 gentlemen here took to these lanes like ducks to water. And they just...
There! And Red comes back.
Well, he met the challenge. 15 pins up right now on Jim. Both with a strike up in the 4th.
Going to the 5th frame. Red working on a strike.
Concentration, and he's taking very, very deliberate time. He wants this one real bad, and he gets it.
There. Red Brochu, 2 strikes in a row. We'll be back in a moment to Saskatoon at the Canadian 5-Pin Bowling Championships. 52-year-old Red Brochu from Nelson, BC. He's a parts person there, and has bowled for a long, long time. Any bowler's dream to get into a Canadian championship.
There's his ball.
Not enough on it.
Just very light on the left-hand side, but a spare here is going to be a big help for him. We could give him a possible 50-pin edge in the 8th with 2 frames to go.
Concentration.
The only chance that Jim has at this point now is that he's going to have to finish with a 4-bagger and hope. There's his spare.
Yeah, right on, Red. And he'll move over for the 9th frame. And like you said, Ed,
the strike here is going to be very difficult for Jim to catch up. There could still a possibility of a tie, strangely enough, on the right circumstances, but depends on what Red does with this ball.
Yeah, and you can see, probably heard Red yell all the way down. It's there.
Well, if Jim were to strike out and finish with a 285, which is all he can get, Red could end up with a 285. So anything can happen. In 5-pin bowling, you're never out till there's no room left. And these competitors know that because they've done it many times.
And Jim comes
There's
through.
one.
And through with 1. That's the start.
Any falter by Jim, it's got to be strikes or the match is over.
He knows it.
Does he ever? These bowlers know everything. When it comes to head-to-head competition like this, they're aware of all the situations. Yeah, there he is.
2 in a row.
Hasn't given up. He's going for everything he can get. Possible 285 game.
Competition is really getting fierce. You see bowlers now from the Northwest Territories and Nova Scotia. It's no longer the Ontarios and BCs and even Albertas anymore.
That's right. There's excellent bowlers anywhere in Canada. And one of the hard things to do is to repeat. It's very tough. So when you look at Bev Meyer having repeated, that's great. And not only that, but in the singles event, which is the toughest of them all.
Yep. Well, we'll see if Jim can pick this one up. He left a corner pin on the left side.
Unfortunately, I think that the best Jim can do is a 268, and Red just has to keep it on the alley, and he's the new men's singles champion. Jim had to have that hit.
Oh, a little narrow. She rolled off before it got there.
266 for Jim. Not too bad a game. Unfortunately, not good enough.
And a nice applause for Jim Bracey from Porters Lake, Nova Scotia.
Jim almost bowled in his 4 games, an average of, he ended up with 1197, almost a 300 average in his 4 games. Unfortunately, the last one was the one he couldn't afford to have the lowest. But Red can wrap it all up just by keeping it, it's all over.
There it was.
Their new Canadian singles champion, Red Brochu from British Columbia.
2 in a row for strikes.
Well, 1 more hit and we've got another 300 game. Not bad for a final to have 3 out of 4 in the over the 300 figure.
Mentioned before.
He can do that now, he said.
That's right. Smiling to himself.
When you're sitting there and you know it's all over, I think your concentration has to be a little lax.
Oh, he's there. All right.
I'll tell you, Kevin, it's a great thing that these bowlers, I'm sure, hearing us sitting here so close to them, have been able to hold their concentration. I think in the 2 matches we've seen, we've only had the head pin missed twice on the first ball, and that's a great tribute to them all.
Another 4 in a row and a big finish by the new Canadian men's singles champ.
335 with a hit.
Come on,
he's there too. 335 for Red, 266 for Jim Bracey. Now your new Canadian singles champion, Red Brochu from British Columbia. And is he one happy guy?
Time now for the awards presentation. With us is George Fuller from Carling O'Keefe, the National Promotions Manager, to hand out the hardware. George?
Thanks, Kevin. You know, we've had some real great bowling here today. Can you imagine that Bev shot a 403? She almost won the perfect game, the Citizen Television. And Red, you shot a 335? Fantastic bowling. You know, Bev, would have gave me great pleasure to present you with the television for a perfect game. But you end up with this Citizen Home Entertainment Center. On behalf of all of us at Carling O'Keefe Breweries, Bev, you just bowled fantastic, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to present you with this gold medal for your supremacy and as the outstanding woman bowler in Canada, as well as the Citizen Home Entertainment System.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Carling O'Keefe for their support of the bowlers. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Red, what can you say? Number one all week. You ended up the champion. We have the gold medal for you. On behalf of all of us at Carling O'Keefe Breweries, we're proud to make you the number one male bowler in Canada.
Thanks very much, sir.
Present you the Citizen Home Entertainment System. I know you got many hours of great enjoyment.
Thank you. Thanks very, very much. Thank you very much.
You're great champions, both of you.
Thank you very much, George. Ed, we can't say enough about what we saw here today in the men's and ladies singles final.
Unbelievable bowling, Kevin. We said we'd have a couple of good matches, but to have those kind of bowlers throw those kind of strikes was something to really watch. Bev throwing a 10-bagger, an 11 out of 12, corner pin costing her a perfect game, and all Red did was end up with a 300 average for 16 games this week. So what can you say? A perfect ending to a perfect championship.
Well, it'll be tough to compete like they did here in Newfoundland next year, St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh, that's another trip we're looking forward to.
Thank you very much. This is Kevin Waugh on behalf of Ed Lynch and Tom Patterson. Good day from Saskatoon.